Alright, everyone, and welcome back to ESC Summer Online. We are raising money for Alzheimer's Fonden, which is a Swedish organization fighting Alzheimer's. Links to donate can be found below the stream. And we would also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. And now we're finally here. We're gonna have Galasrinie run some Bayonetta. Take it away.
Yep, thank you. Hi, I'm Galasrinie, and I'm going to be doing the Bayonetta speedrun today. I'm going to be showing it off. I'm very excited to show this run. This run is very flashy, and I'll get to explain it to you. Okay, so timer starts on normal difficulty select, which will be in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, welcome. This is Bayonetta. Bayonetta is an action-packed hack-and-slash game by Platinum Games. The first segment of the game is just an auto-scroller segment, so there isn't too much required for me to do here, but it will give me an opportunity to explain a few things about the run and the game in general. So, right at the start of the game, we get introduced to two of the main characters. On the left is Jean, and on the right is Bayonetta, who is the character that we are going to play as for this speedrun. So yeah, like I said, this is just an auto-scroller segment. You'll notice that there is a narrator right now who has a bit of dialogue to read. He has a bit of information to give about the world and the story in general. What can happen when speedrunning this game is sometimes the final sentence of the narrator's dialogue gets cut off. So we just have to wait and see if we get that extra bit of time saved. So right at the beginning, we get introduced to some of the basic enemy types of the game. Unlike Devil May Cry, which you saw before, where you verse demons and devils, in Bayonetta you verse angels, which is the opposite. So yeah, if you have any donations that need to be cashed up, this is a good opportunity to read out some.
Absolutely. We do have one $25 donation from KK, who says, "For a good cause and an amazing run. Good luck, Gala. You're amazing, and thank you to the organizers." And thank you for donating for a good cause.
The tremendous radiance of God shining upon them.
The main way that we do damage to enemies in Bayonetta is through punches and kicks and combos. On each of Bayonetta's hands and feet, she has guns strapped to them, which she uses in shooting as well with her kicks and punches, which you'll see throughout the whole run. So the category for this speedrun is New Game, 80% Normal, No Infinite Flute Glitch, which is quite a mouthful, but essentially what it means is New Game means this is not a New Game Plus run, so we start a fresh save file without any bought weapons or items. 80% means we're going to be trying to complete the game as fast as possible. Normal is the difficulty, and No Infinite Flute Glitch means we won't be using one specific glitch, which trivializes combat quite a bit. So you're going to be seeing a lot more combat tech during this run, as well as a lot of cool skips and other glitches which are nice.
Human faith in the miracles of their God pushed the witch hunts further, and soon
So the final line of the narrator's dialogue is coming up right now.
from the earth.
See, all but one. However, the narrator only said the first word, which was all. So sometimes with speedrunning this game, we can get a little bit of extra time saved from the narrator cutting off his dialogue. So this is Prologue, the Festival. Bayonetta ends up in a cemetery with some angels. And what we're going to be performing here is what we call the Ragdoll Combo, where we lift up an angel, ragdoll them, and then try and push them into each other so we can do damage to multiple enemies at once. Like so. One thing you'll notice when killing the angels is that there are these golden rings that pop out of their body. They've been said to look a little bit like Sonic rings. They are called halos, and that is the main currency of the game. You kill angels and halos pop out of their body, which is great. Now in this wave, we have a smaller flying angel type, which are called decorations. We just shoot them down like so. In the next wave, we have a mix of both, so I'm going to be trying to do the same Ragdoll Combo to try and Ragdoll them and throw them into the smaller angels that are flying. Try and, yeah, hit multiple enemies at once. And push them into each other, if I can. Now, underneath Bayonetta's green health bar to the left, you will notice that there are these multicolored spheres. That is called the magic gauge, and when Bayonetta has a full magic gauge, she can perform this, which is called a torture attack. We specifically do that to that larger enemy to the side because he has quite a bit of health, and doing that to him will one-shot him, so that's a good way of clearing him out first at the start of this fight. And now we just have to pick off the other angels. So yeah, torture attacks, which is the mechanic that we're getting introduced to. In this fight, it is a requirement to perform 3 torture attacks in order to progress. So at the start of this fight, we perform a torture attack straight away from the magic gauge that we had built up from the previous fight. And now, holding down Bayonetta's combos from her hands and her feet, she will shoot a lot of bullets. And this will help us to fill the magic gauge up very fast. So that we can perform 3 torture attacks as soon as possible. And that's the end of the prologue. And yes, whenever you get a platinum award, Bayonetta will tell you how she should have been a pole dancer, which is great. Now, in between chapters, there is this minigame called Angel Attack. I won't be playing it here, but I'll be playing it a bit later, so I'll get to explain it then. So this is Chapter 1, The Angels Metropolis. First thing we do is we jump over this train, and we're going to be performing a faster movement which is called Jump Punch Cancelling, which is performed by pressing the jump and the punch button together to perform a slightly faster movement. One thing to take note of is that Bayonetta has a 5 dodge limit, in which the 5th dodge is an exhaust dodge, where she flops over and is exhausted. We don't want that happening, so for open spaces like that, we use the Jump Punch Cancelling movement for this chapter. After interacting with this broken statue, there is a fight that emerges, and I'm just going to be performing the same Ragdoll Combo to try and push them into each other. That's it. After this fight, the statue will reform, and when we interact with it and then activate it, it will cast a lightning bolt, and dodging that lightning bolt, Bayonetta gets Witch Time. Witch Time is probably one of the most important mechanics of the game, and essentially what it does is slows down time. Bayonetta can get Witch Time when she dodges something in her surroundings that could do damage to her from the environment or from an enemy. And in combat, when Bayonetta dodges an attack from an enemy and time is slowed down, it gives her an opportunity to take advantage of vulnerable enemies when time is slowed down. So I'm just performing the Jump Punch Cancelling movement, but that is the final time that you're going to see it because we're going into the store to buy a technique. And this technique that we're buying is called Air Dodge, which is pretty self-explanatory, but it allows Bayonetta to dodge through the air, which is a faster form of movement which we will now be using. In this dome, there is a vase, and in that vase is arcade bullets. I remembered I mentioned that there is a minigame in between chapters. We pick up those arcade bullets for that minigame specifically, because we're going to be playing that minigame after this chapter, and that will give us more bullets for the minigame that I'll get to show once we get there. One thing that Bayonetta can do is she can take the angels' weapons away from them, Like right now, we took the halberd away from one of the dead angels, and she uses it now as a stripper pole. Another way that Bayonetta can take an angel's weapon away from them is by performing a torture attack. And I torture attacked that angel specifically with the ball and chain weapon because I'm going to need that for an enemy who spawns in a little bit later. So I'm just going to be trying to clear out these angels where I can. There's one of them that spawned very far away from me. Thankfully he's moving over there. Cool. And the angel that spawns in is a beloved, which is a larger angel type. What these beloveds have on their backs is a red spot, which is their weak point. We use the ball and chain weapon on their back to do a lot of damage to them and take this one down fast. For some of the larger enemies in the game, Bayonetta does a Climax Move, which is this. This is Gomorrah, one of her infernal demons, which she summons with her hair as the medium. For those who don't know, Bayonetta is a witch, so there's going to be a lot of demonic things like that throughout the game that you're going to see. We take the beloved's axe that he dropped after being defeated, and we also pick up this LP record. These records, when you exchange them at the store, the shopkeeper will exchange them for certain weapons, and we pick up that LP for a weapon that we're going to need a bit later in the speedrun. Bayonetta has a flashback and a fight emerges, and what we're performing here is a technique called Bullet Climax. Bullet Climax is a technique that you get by default at the start of the game, which allows Bayonetta to shoot a lot of bullets from either her hands or her feet. And we use that technique here specifically to take Fortitudo down first, which is the name of that angel. We also perform it here. There is a beloved that spawns here. We can perform it with the feet. That's okay. Now here, what I want to try and do is stay in the air. Bullet Climax, because it allows Bayonetta to stay in one spot, you'll notice right now that the beloved is ramming the bridge to the side wall. If Bayonetta stands on this bridge while the beloved is doing this, she will get a stagger animation, which prevents us from continuously doing damage to him. So we want to keep doing damage to him, so we stay in the air. We are going to be now using the axe that I had previously got. Beloved comes down here. The axe does a lot of damage to his health. And you'll notice in this animation with the beloved, Bayonetta is standing on the platform with him. Usually he crawls up the stairs and you usually verse him there, but because the axe does so much damage, we can kill him before he even gets there. And that's the end of chapter 1. Cool. So from this chapter, I picked up arcade bullets, which gives me extra shots in this minigame. Now, the reason why we play this minigame is because with the points that you collect in this minigame, you can exchange them for certain items. And there's one item in particular that we need for the run, which I'll get to show. Have to work my marksmanship a little bit. Cool. Yeah. And now the item that we are going to be getting is the Magic Flute. The Magic Flute is a consumable which does a burst of damage to the surrounding area in an AoE burst, area of effect. And even though this is the No Infinite Flute Glitch speedrun, we can still use them, we just have to consume them normally. Now this is chapter 2, Vigrid City of Deja Vu, and the first person that you fight is Jean. The first Jean fight is by far probably the hardest and most annoying run in the speedrun, mainly because Jean can dodge everything you try and throw at her, and can be rather annoying. Now, one thing you'll notice now when performing combos is that Bayonetta summons these large feet or large hands at the ends. These are called Wicked Weaves, and they can plant a lot of damage on Jean as well as other enemies that Bayonetta versus from now on. Now, because this fight was a flashback, Bayonetta remembers that she can do this one technique, which is Witch Walk, which allows Bayonetta to walk on the walls. So now, for some parts of the game, Bayonetta will be able to crawl on some of the walls of some buildings. We interact with the statue to the side, and then we activate it for a lightning bolt to appear to get witch time, because for some of the doors in the game, in order to progress, you need witch time activated in order to go through them. So for the new game run, we have to interact with that statue to go forward. At the start of this fight, I ragdoll one of the angels to try and push them into the others to get some damage output straight away. And I'm just going to try to clear them out. When I kill this larger angel with the red cloak, he will drop his angel bow. I'm also going to be performing a torture attack on the second angel in red, because I want his angel bow as well. Now, using the bow, I can clear out this wave. When the beloved spawns in, there are angels that are coming down as well. However, I use a magic flute so that that wave that comes down gets killed. We do enough damage for the beloved to go away. Then there's just one angel left, and that's the end of that fight. I still have one of the angel bows equipped, and if you've played Dark Souls, you might know a beloved enemy known as the Bone Wheel. In Bayonetta, we have something a little similar, which is called an enchant, which is like a wheel style angel, but using the bow, we can shoot them down effectively before they get a chance to move around too much. There are also some of the enchants in here as well. We use a flute to clear them off the walls. We give a punch and a kick to the beloved, and he's not doing too well. So he cries out, and someone comes along to save the day. So now we have two beloveds in the arena with us. I get witch time from the one in the back, and then kill the one with the lesser health. I collect his axe, and we're going to be using that against his friend. Like so. For some of the climax moves, you will notice that I won't be performing the Gigaton button mashing. That is because for some of them, it is slow because Gamora does a munching animation which is slow. So for those ones, you'll notice that I won't be doing them. After that fight, another LP record spawns in, and I collect that one as well for a weapon that I'll need a bit later for the run. Start of this fight, I torture attack the angel in the back, and hopefully he did the thing that I wanted him to do, which was very nice. By him blitzing forward like that, I can get witch time, and then I can take him out first. This wall that you see here, usually you would do damage to that wall to create a platform to get over here. However, using the air dodge technique which we bought from the store, we can get across here without having to do that. We use the halberd as a stripper pole in front of Fortitudo's face, like you do, and now I'm going to be shooting a lot of bullets into his face, using the bullet climax technique. The bullet climax technique is a bit of button mashing, so I apologize if you can hear the clickiness of my controller. But I want to be mashing as much as I can. And with that, Fortitudo breathes a fireball at Bayonetta, and what does she do? She says, "Oh, I guess I better throw the building at you then." So she throws the building at his fireball. Like so. And that's the end of chapter 2.
Do you have time for some quick donation?
Yeah, you can read some.
Absolutely. So we have $15 from Racer. Gala, she's our gal. Gonna run over them all. Good luck on the run. And we have $10.01 from Ryan. Gala Gang checking in. Thank you all so much for those donations.
Thank you. So before chapter 3, I'm going to be going to the store and collecting a few things. We're going to be getting the Onyx Roses and the Shuraba Sword. We exchanged the LPs for those weapons. Going to be buying 2 Yellow Moon Lollipops as well as 2 very important techniques, the Stiletto technique as well as the Afterburn Kick technique. These 2 techniques are very important for quite a few skips as well as movement tech along the run, which I'll get to show. So at the start of the chapter, we equip the sword as well as the Onyx Roses, which are a set of shotguns, and the Yellow Moon Lollipop. The fight that emerges here, the enemies are on fire, so the Bayonetta cannot touch them normally as she will get a stagger animation. So what I'm going to be doing is winding up the sword, trying to get witch time where I can. And then clearing out some enemies. Once I clear out, I count 8. I use a magic flute and that clears out the rest. With the combination of the sword with the stiletto technique that we bought, we can perform this movement, which is the fastest form of movement that we now have on the speedrun, which is like Bayonetta going forth with the sword. We get introduced to a new angel type. This is called a fairness, though sometimes they don't play very fair. And they are a dog style angel. That we get rid of. Now that we have the Onyx Roses guns, which are a shotgun, even though they have a short range, they can do a lot of damage to it. Here there is fire that emerges from the floor, but we use a Yellow Moon Lollipop to go through. Yellow Moon Lollipops grant invincibility, meaning we can go through there without having to get witch time activated from the statues that are there. Here we have a bit of a skip. Instead of having to go across the buildings, we can use the air dodge technique that we bought and go through the middle to make it to our destination as soon as possible. This is a double fairness fight. Gonna be holding down my combo so the Bayonetta shoots a lot of bullets from her hands and her feet. This is a very oddly positioned fight, but that is okay. I think he got caught on the fountain. That's okay. We take them down. A little bit of a fancy looking cutscene here. Now because there is a shop that comes up a bit later, I'm just going to be trying to button mash as much as I can for extra halos. Now we are in the underground. This is the Catacombs of Vigrid. And upcoming we have a skip, which I'll get to show off. You'll see in front of me that there is a bridge. Usually to progress, you need to go across that bridge to make it to the end of the chapter. However, using the 2 techniques that we bought at the store, the Afterburner Kick technique as well as the Stiletto technique, we can perform this movement through the air and skip the bridge segment. Because with the bridge segment, the bridge breaks and there's all this stuff that happens. But using these 2 techniques, we can make it across. I was a little bit low, that's okay. Second try. Almost. We can make it across. This angling is a little bit bad too. That lower platform, even though it looks like I can stand on it, I can't actually, because that is a part of the death plane. That's okay. One thing also good about Bayonetta when you practice this game is that fall, even though if your health hits 0 from like falling down in the lava, doesn't count as a death. So that's very beneficial with practicing this game. And we make it across like that. There we go. That's okay. Marathon. I am a little nervous, so it's okay. Now we just go up here. Just using the stiletto movement with the sword, we can make it up here. We don't have any more fights for the rest of the chapter. We just have to make it to the end. And the next chapter will be here, which is in a Colosseum, which I'll get to show off too.
Have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
Yeah, we got $30 from McCray D. Let's go, Galagang! Bringing the thunder from down under. See you in the ring, bruh. Thank you so much for the donation. And I just want to quickly say that we have an incentive coming up after this game for Crash Bash, which is the no movement space bash crystal, where he will do absolutely nothing and still win. It's right now at $280 out of the $350 we need to get that met. I believe in you guys. We can do this. And it's for a good cause.
Awesome. So now we're fighting a boss fight. This chapter is dedicated to a boss fight. This is for the Tudo. Seen him a little bit in the early game, and now we're versing him. Once you do a certain amount of damage to him, he perches himself up on top of the Colosseum to go into like the next parts of his boss fight. He breathes fire and the floor breaks apart, but I just move so he doesn't stagger bear. And now Bayonetta's gonna grab him. She's gonna suplex him on the floor. Because even though Bayonetta lost her memory, she never forgot her wrestling moves. And I just try and button mash as much as I can for the halos that you get here. So I ripped off one of Fortitudo's dragon heads, and we have to rip off the other. For the second head, I'm going to try and do something a little bit special. If I stand in a specific spot, I can dodge Fortitudo's head when he breathes fire to get witch time, do enough damage to his head, and then trip him over with the sword. By tripping him over, this gives me an opportunity to perform bullet climax with the feet to do enough damage to Fortitudo for him to go to the next parts of his fight. If I didn't get witch time when Fortitudo lowers his head to breathe fire, he breathes fire all across the floor, and it can be really messy. So that is a very effective way to get him to the next parts of his fight as soon as possible. Oh, it's just like before. Now, we've ripped off the other dragon head. Fortitudo isn't doing too great now. He's not very happy at all. He's very angry. So now he's gonna fly up and verse us in a little bit of a different setting for the final part of his fight. For boss fights in Bayonetta, we use the Shuriba sword a lot. So you're going to see that used a lot for bosses in the future as well. He did a spike move where he summons spikes below us, but because the bullet climax technique allows Bayonetta to stay in the air, we can still do continuous damage to him like that. Now Bayonetta summons another one of her Infernal Demons, but this is one that you haven't seen before. This one's name is Malphus, and Malphus is a bird. Malphus comes to pick the daylights out of Fortitudo. He's not having a very good day. And that's the end of chapter 4. Now, in the next chapter, chapter 5, we're going to get introduced to quite a few different angel types, new angel types. One of them in particular is very fast and can do a heap of damage to you. So, they're going to be rather fun to get to show off. Okay, cool. So this is chapter 5, The Lost Holy Grounds. Below us, the floor will start breaking apart, but using the stiletto technique with the sword, we don't have to deal with it. We just go across it. Now, the lovely angel types coming up, they are Grace and Glory. They come in blue and red. I use a Wicked Weave with the sword to get some damage on both of them at the beginning. This is what I mean when they can do a lot of damage to you. And we try and take them out. I purposely try and kill the red one first because the one that you kill first will drop their weapon. And we need the red one's weapon because the red and the blue, the red does a fire element whereas the blue one does an electricity element. And for the speedrun, we need the red one for a certain ability which I'm going to show off in this fight. It does this spinning with the claw, which we use to get rid of the dog on the side. And then we just have one that we need to deal with. There are angels who spawn in here, but you'll notice that it isn't not a requirement for me to vest them. I can just bypass them. So for a lot of the fights in the game like that, you'll notice that I'll just be going past them. But the fights that are a requirement to do, that create an invisible wall that does not go away unless you defeat them, are the fights that I will be taking part in. After we go through the portal, we are in this perspective flying through the air. There are some little angels, but I just try not to hit into them. Try not to hit into them. Now coming to the side, there is another fight here, which is Grace and Glory, my favorite. This combo that we perform against them is a triple punch, triple kick combo. And the reason being, the legs in this combo do a sweeping, which can trip them over even when Witch Time isn't activated, which is very useful. We get introduced to a new angel type, which is the Harmonies. They are a type of stingray style angel. And we can come to the side platform, they collect, and we can take them out with a slash of the sword. For this chapter, I am picking up the LP record pieces. In some of the chapters in Bayonetta, the LP pieces are split up. So in this chapter, they are split up into 3. So I'm going to be collecting them for a very important weapon that I'll get to show off. This is a new angel type called Ardors. I shoot the first Ardor in the head. Then with the claw that I had got from the previous fight, you can spin in between them and take them out together, like so. we just need to make our way up this tower to get to the next part. This store that is in front of Bayonetta, it is a requirement to have Witch Time activated in order to progress through it. So for the new game run, we need to go up here to get access to these statues so that we can get Witch Time, but in order to gain access to them, we need to complete this fight. So yeah, with the sweeping with the legs, I can trip them over so they don't attack me as much. So now that we have defeated that fight, we get access to the statues, we interact with it, activate it, and then we can get Witch Time from the lightning bolt to go through. There is a skip here. There is a whole snake way around to get up, but we can use the afterburner kick technique to get here. We open the chest for the final LP piece for a record that we're going to exchange for a weapon in just a bit. This platform starts to break, and there is an inspired, which is like a snake-style angel that flies around. When we get up here, I try and trip this inspired that is flying on top straight away. I activate the claw to get rid of the health that he has. Now, for some of the enemies in Bayonetta, we can skip having to do, or we can avoid having to do the climax animation. Because when the enemy spawns back, they have a portion of health that we can get rid of, which is faster. When you perform the climax, there is this whole very climatic animation that happens that is too slow. So we do this as an alternative, which is a bit faster to do. Now we're going to go into the store and exchange the LP that we got from this chapter for a very important weapon, which is the Durga. The Durga is a set of claw-like weapons with the elements of fire and lightning. In the speedrun, we only use the fire element and we wear them on the feet, and I'll get to show you them in action in the next fight that we do, which is coming up. And yeah, that's a very important weapon for the speedrun, because I'll get to show you what it does. We use it a lot for the rest of the run. This is Temperance. He comes to say hello for a little bit, but we're not going to be dealing with him right now. We're going to be seeing him a bit later in the game. But there is someone that we do have to verse, which is Jean, the second Jean fight. With the Durga, you can plant explosives, and you can see how much damage these explosives do to Jean's health. They can take enemies out very fast, which is something that you're going to see throughout the rest of the run. Now, at the end of the chapter, we get a technique which is called Panther Within. Panther Within is the fastest form of movement for the speedrun, so from now on you won't be seeing the stiletto movement with the sword, you'll just be seeing Panther Within, which is running in panther form. From this chapter, I collected a lot of bullets for the minigame, which you get naturally when doing the fights. So if there are any donations that need to be read while I play this minigame, you're most welcome to read some off.
Absolutely. We do have $10 from Justinitus that says Gala Gang! And we got another $50 from Induratais. Gala is really amazing, and I fully agree, and thank you so much everyone for those donations. Did you know that we right now are at 300 out of the $350 we need to get the Crash Patch incentive for having him do one of the segments without doing anything? And if you donate $50, you get to enter for one of our beautiful prizes, which is a Nintendo Switch donated by Kaspersky themselves. So Good shout out to them. It's for a good cause. You're helping our fight against Alzheimer's. And hey, we get to have fun along the way. So why not?
Awesome. So I'm just taking a pit stop to the store. I bought 2 important techniques for some skips, and I bought some extra Yellow Moon lollipops for some boss fights that we're going to be seeing a bit later. So this is the Gates of Paradise. We start off by seeing the Panther Within technique, which is the fastest form of movement we now have. And you'll also get to see the Durga used against angel types. We're just going to be blowing them up. Very explosive. So one of the techniques that we bought from the store was Crow Within. And here there is a skip. Usually to progress, you have to interact with those 2 statues that I bypassed, which triggers a fight for you to get on top of that platform afterwards. But using those techniques that we bought from the store, the Afterburner Kick technique as well as Crow Form, we can make it up here without having to perform that fight. After that fight, there's water platforms that emerge to get on top of here. But there is an alternative, which is very fast. This is great, yeah, Grace and Glory again, but unlike before, we have the Durga on the feet when versing them now, and we can do heaps of damage to them. I try and grab the Red Claw as soon as possible for when the next set of them spawn in, so I can do a bit of damage on them before they get a chance to move. They were a little bit far away from me though, so yeah. Now in this room, we get introduced to a new character who is Little Cereza. You'll notice underneath Bayonetta's health bar, there is a little girl health bar. That is Little Cereza's health bar. We need to protect her from the angels, which are here. They don't get a chance to really touch her in the run, thankfully. So we just have to help her out and blow them up. She's in that little purple dome that you see there. We just have to... You'll get to see her briefly to the left. She's the little girl that's next to us. She's very cute. But even though we saved her from... protect her from those angels, she unfortunately now is getting chased by a beloved as well, so we have to protect her even more. In this little segment, we want Cereza to be running as fast as possible. If he catches up to her, there's a little force field that goes around her and it's very slow. So I just want to be throwing as much debris behind as much as possible so that he doesn't catch up to her. Because she is what determines how fast or how slow this segment is. She can also decide to fall over, which is not good. So we just have to try and encourage her to keep moving. By throwing a lot of debris behind. By going through this portal, we are now in the Paradiso realm, or Paradise, where all the angels hang out. There are some of the Fearless Fairness dog-style angels there, but we don't have to verse them because from above there are some fireballs that fall down and get rid of them for us, which is very convenient. However, we do have to deal with the Beloved. Like the Beloveds previously, on this Beloved's back, he has a weak point. So what I'm going to be doing is trying to get up his back using the Afterburner Kick technique. And then planning the explosives with the Durga if I can. Like so. Now, this is one of the animations you can't skip in the game, and it's of the Beloved crying out that we took his child. he's very sad and he just got eaten, so not the happiest ending for him. But wait, we find out that the one holding Cereza is not Bayonetta. This one has a halo. That's Bayonetta in the back, so we still have to protect Cereza. Oh no. I use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these lasers will interrupt our movement going through here, so we can make it to this imposter's fight as soon as possible. Have to find out who it is that's trying to pretend to be Bayo. We find out that it is a Joy. A Joy is a humanoid style angel type that has the ability to duplicate into two enemies, which is something you really don't want happening because you don't want to be dealing with multiple enemies. We just want to trip her over and take her out as fast as possible, like you would want to do in a speedrun. So we try and not give her the opportunity to duplicate. Though sometimes she can flip back and decide to do it anyway, but yeah. Cool.
You have time for a quick donation?
Oh, there's just something I want to explain and then I'll let you read it.
Alright, no worries.
Okay. So just because this is a boss fight and there's something very special that we get introduced to, because we use something very special against him. Okay. Whenever Bayonetta has a firearm on the feet of one weapon set and Durga on the other, during this kicking animation of 4 punches and then kicks, if I switch weapon sets during that animation, Bayonetta can fire a lot of bullets from her feet. This is an exploit that can be done with the Durga and any sort of firearm on the other weapon set on the feet. And yeah, it creates a very high damaging combo. Once Temperance receives a certain amount of damage, we coil up his arm and we can break open the capsules on his body. Bayonetta summons an infernal beast, and this one's name is Hecatonchir, which is, I think it means 100 hands or something like that. And there's like these hairy hands that come to rip off his arms. And we crawl up his other arm and we do the same. I use the sword to break open the capsule. He tries to struggle, but he gets punched in the gut, and now we just have to rip off the other arm. There are also capsules on his body as well that need to get broken. So now we're on his body, and I'm going to be using the sword as well as the Onyx Razor shotguns that we have to crack them open. Like so. After they are broken apart, his face will emerge from the force field. The force field breaks away. So now we're going to be attacking his face because he's wondering what's up. We use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these combos that I do against him will get interrupted. And then we take away his health and we climax. But yeah, that exploit is something that you're going to see used, like we see it here, and we're also going to see it in a boss fight a bit later as well. And a few other places. So, it's very good. Very good. Now, if you have any donations you want to read, you're most welcome to do it now.
Yeah, sorry about that earlier.
It's okay.
We got $50 from Cheese Soda Punch saying, let's go. Why are they saying let's go? Because ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries, the Crash Bash incentive has been met. So
Awesome.
The runner is going to do absolutely nothing during a segment of the run, and it's going to be glorious. I can't wait to watch that after this run. We also got $15 from Emphas saying, when's practice? Good luck on the run, and may the game grace you. Thank you so much for those donations, everyone.
Entes is another runner. Thanks, Entes. So this is Route 666, which is set with Bayonetta on some cars and trucks with some angels. So we're just gonna have to blow them up while we're on the road. Like so. And there is a skip in this chapter, which I'll get to show a little bit later. So here, I equipped the Mega Yellow Moon Lollipop that I had bought. I'm gonna be using it. For the Joys here, they can do this one move where they burst forward and I can get Witch Time. I'm gonna be trying to get that from them. Witch Time, and then I use a double punch, double kick combo to take them out. Now where's the last one? Like so. Now there is probably the biggest skip in Bayonetta coming right up. So, in this segment, usually you have to do a whole motorbike racetrack to verse this angel, which is in the form of a car, whose name is Erinic. But in the speedrun, we have something special that we do. As soon as this segment starts, and Bayonetta is on her motorbike at the beginning, we go into the menu, and we use a magic flute. By using the magic flute, it allows us to go into panther form and allows us to go backwards over the finish line. Once we see the score screen, we hit the wall to readjust and go over the finish line again, and the game will think that we did the whole motorbike racetrack when all we did was go backwards and over the finish line again. Because what happens is, in Bayonetta, when you go into the menu, time is paused and Bayonetta's model freezes, which gives us an opportunity to use the item, go into panther form and go backwards. At the start of that segment. There are some Braves here, and yeah, we just blow them up. Like so. And that skip saves, I think, 4 to 5 minutes. So that saves like a whole chunk, which is a very good skip. Very good. Cool. The next two chapters are set in Paradiso, or the Paradise Realm. The first chapter in the Paradiso Realm is Paradiso, a sea of... Remembrance of Time. Sorry, I got them mixed up. As you can tell, the setting is a lot more angelic. You can hear the music is very peaceful. We go to the right, and behind this wall is a chest, and in that chest is an LP record piece. We picked that one up, and we're going to be picking up the other pieces in this chapter for a weapon that we're going to be using for endgame. Coming up is a skip. Using the afterburner kick technique, we can get enough height to get on top of this sphere. Usually to get on top of this sphere, there is a fight that is below it that you need to complete in order to get on top, but using those two techniques up that wall, it is possible to make it on top of here without having to do that fight. And we can make it onto the next part. Cool. Using the afterburner kick technique, we can get the gravity from the upper platform to take us to it. This is a golem, the green sphere. There is this whole Indiana Jones sort of segment here, but because the invisible wall is not high enough, it is possible for us to get over that invisible wall and fall down to the lower ring. So we can skip the whole spiral way down of where we get chased by the golem. Because yeah, the afterburner kick technique gives a lot of height, so for a lot of skips in the Bayonetta speedrun, we use that technique quite a bit. It's very, very helpful. In this verse, there are chests, and in those chests are enemies as well as pieces to a key, which we're going to need to be cracking open. In this final chest, when the enemy comes out, I dodge so that I can get witch time. We just have to blow up the second one. I pick up the weapon from the red one, and I'm going to be using it to open the chest. activating it, and we can use it to kill the dog. Like so. Now from those chests you get pieces to a key, but we don't actually need that key. We can use our techniques to make it across here. When you use the key there are platforms for you to get across instead. We can do that. However, we do need to do the fight because an invisible wall needs to be removed in order to progress in the game. So these are kingships. They can be rather annoying because they move around a bit. But once you get on top of them, you can just blow them up like so. They have a weak point that looks very similar to the Beloved's back. That is the second piece to the LP record. There is one more that we're going to be getting in a little bit. Now that we are in this perspective and we have the Durga claws on the feet, we can perform this faster spinning movement, which makes us go a bit faster through here. However, there are vines which are not very nice to have to deal with. So we just try and go fast through there without getting interrupted by them if possible. There's the golem. We're going to be seeing him in a minute. But first, we go over to this side, and behind this wall there is another chest, and in that chest is the final LP record piece. So now we have the full record for a weapon that we're going to exchange at the store a bit later on in the run. So this is a bit of a running segment. Ooh. The golem caught me, that's okay. That can happen. Usually if my movement is superb, you can make it through there without even getting interrupted by the golem. The golem is too slow and you are too fast. But I stuffed up a little bit. That is okay. Now we are going to be versing the golem, however. The thing about the golem is that the golem has several different forms. And the objective is to do damage to this sphere that is in the middle, which is the weak point. We do not perform the climax animation for the golem because the climax animation is slow. Instead, we wait for the golem to regather, and when he does, there is a small portion of health which we just pick off. And he gets defeated that way, a lot faster. The animation is very flashy and cool though, so if you ever decide to play this game, you'll get to see it. But it's too slow, so why? Because it's fast. Very simple. Yeah. And that's the end of that chapter.
You have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, you can go.
Absolutely. We have $20 from Rotten Johnny 1 saying, "Hi Gala, love your streams. Thank you for working towards a good cause. Much love." Thank you everyone so much for helping us out with our struggle against Alzheimer's.
Thank
We all
you.
thank you very much.
I'm just in a room with some joys. Just gonna try and blow them up where I can. Like so. There is a little trick that I'll try to perform here. If I fall down in a specific spot, try not to go too far. I go into the menu and I use a magic flute. I can get the gears to form. These walls, to form the gears, you need to do damage to them, and because the magic flute does damage to the surrounding area, you can use a flute, and it is possible to get all 3 of the gears if you stand in a certain spot. I only got 2 of them, but that is okay. So that saves having to approach each one of them and have the animation each time of the gears forming, running up to them and then the gears forming. So here we have some more of the harmonies, and they just blow up this time. We just blow them up. Gonna see some familiar faces of previous boss fights, but they are in like a miniature form. This is Fortitudo's brother or cousin or something, and we just take him out using the exploit. This is Temperance. We get Witch Time from his punch. Change weapon sets to shoot a lot of the Onyx Rose's bullets from the feet. Do the same. Take them out. Sometimes Temperance can be mean and decide to stay away from the platform, but he was very nice today and gave me what I wanted. So that's good. I wait a small moment here because these enchants can completely wreck me if I decide to go in straight away. I need to wait anyway for this platform to come here, so I do that. Now we just have to run to the next fight, which will come up soon. The fight that is coming up looks very similar to Grace and Glory. However, they are called Gracious and Glorious. And the thing unique about them is that I cannot get Witch Time when dodging their attacks, which can make them very pesky to deal with. Because in Bayonetta combat, Witch Time is usually your key to take advantage of an enemy. But you can't get it there. But that is okay. We can still take them out fast. But that is the final set of enemies that we're going to be versing for the speedrun. To the left, there is a whole finale fight. However, we have a skip. Using the afterburner kick technique, we can get enough height to get on top of this ledge, which is out of bounds. And then in Panther form, we jump, we get Crow form, and we can fly to the end of the chapter to hit the final trigger to end the chapter. So that was a whole fight of Inspireds and Beloveds and Angels down below, but we can fly over the top, so that's very good. Cool. Now the next chapter is dedicated to a boss fight. I'm going to be seeing another boss in the Cardinal Virtue of Justice. But before we see the boss, there are just a few angels that we're going to need to pick off. Like so. And we're going to be using the Shuraba sword entirely for this fight. This is Justitia, which is Latin for justice, in the Cardinal Virtue of Justice, which is what this chapter is called. We use the sword to slash Justitia's face. Once he receives a certain amount of damage, we can right on top of the tongue or the neck, depending on how you want to look at this. So we can make it to the face. Bayonetta gives Justitia a nosebleed, and now we're going to be chopping off the tongue. And I remember when I first started speedrunning this game, everyone would go, "Ew, that's gross," whenever there was this part. Chopping off Justitia's tongue each time. Now, I fall to the right straight away, because if I stand on the platform, I have to wait for Justitia to break the platform for me anyway. So we want to go back to attacking Justitia as soon as possible. So we make sure right at the start that we just fall off to the side. Now he caps his damage and he will decide to throw boulders at us. So Bayonetta punches through them. Like so. As similar as before, we have to chop off the tongue. Now this is the final time. Fall off to the side, so we can go right back to attacking him. We just have some boulders to punch through. And we chop off the final tongue. Stitsia looks like he wants to explode. Very angry. He comes to the platform and Bayonetta punches him in the nose once again. Now Bayonetta summons another one of her infernal beasts. This one is one that we haven't seen before. This one's name is Scolopendra and is a centipede. Big hairy centipede. And Scolopendra is gonna strangle the boss. And that's the end of his boss fight. Cool. So the next chapter is the Broken Sky. The setting of this chapter is on a plane, on a military transport Valkyrie. We go to the left, and behind this wall there is a chest, and in that chest is a magic flute, which I'm going to be using for near the end of this chapter. Might have noticed behind me that the plane was breaking up. Those were Jean's wicked weaves blasting through the plane, so you might be able to guess who is in this chapter. The cargo got me, but that's alright. And there is something very special that we use for Jean's fight, which I'll get to show off. But before I do, I just have some angels I need to get rid of, if I can. Like so. Usually to progress to Jean's fight, you would go forward. However, in the speedrun, we go backwards. Because this whole plane is a physical object, it is possible to get on top of the plane, on top of the wing of the plane, and then on top of the main part of the plane. Jean's fight is to the left, on top. So we go to the left to trigger her health bar to appear, for her to emerge, and we lure her to the side by falling down here. By standing in a specific spot, we can get witch time, and we can kick her off the plane, dragging her out of her boss fight arena. When she falls down, her health goes to 0, and we go into the fight as normal, triggering her cutscene, but instead of having to verse her, she will drop dead in the fight instantly. And she has a few phases to her fight, so that's very good for our speedrun. We have little Cereza in our arms. She's very scared, so we have to protect her again from some angels who have come around to try and bully poor Cereza. If you have a small donation that you would like to read, this is a good opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. I got the right one just for you. $10 from Long Arm Centipede Giraffe saying, "Go Gala, you wonderful human." Thank you so much for those donations.
Okay, now for this final fight, I'm going to be using the magic flute that I had gotten from the wall previously. I put Cereza down, and as these harmonies are emerging, I wait to see a blue aura, which means that more are spawning in. I use the flute, and you can clear them all out together like so. And that's the finale for the chapter. Next chapter is dedicated to a boss fight. We're in a plane for the chapter that we had just completed, and in the next chapter we are going to be on the ocean, in the cardinal virtue of prudence. The boss for this chapter's name is Sapientia. On each of Sapientia's legs, he has these porcelain-like faces. First objective is to break open these faces, so I'm going to be using a punch-kick-punch combo with the sword, as the sword Wicked Weave will reach his face. After breaking open the two faces on two of his legs, he will decide to dive. I just have to avoid getting bitten if possible. Now I have to break open the faces on the other legs on the right side. Bayonetta does a Climax Move, and she summons an Infernal Demon. This one's name is Phantasmarine, if I said that correctly, and is a big spider. Sapientia sees the spider and he's like, oh no, I better run away. But Bayonetta comes and she's gonna grab him. And she's gonna bring him towards the spider. For this little segment, I just have to make sure I'm pressing X to direct him in the right way so he doesn't go too unruly. And I have to make sure I get these counter quick time events, as if I miss them, I will lose a lot of time if I do. The spider munches Sapientia's face, and now the weak point is his face. He will decide to dive soon after, but before he does, I try and get some damage on him. And now I'll just concentrate a little bit. One thing that Sapientia can decide to do, which is very mean, is he can decide to dive multiple times without warning, which we really don't want happening because it's time loss. So I just have to try and do enough damage to his face before he gets an opportunity to do that. Which I did. Good. And now we just have to lure him towards the spider once more. Now this is the final phase, where we go down a water vortex with Sapientia at the bottom. Use the punch-kick-punch combo with this sword so that I can reach him. He will push us away soon after. And he will also do lasers as well, which I have to be careful of. And then climax. And we see, oh, the spider is huge. He is so big now. The boss looks so puny by comparison. And it looks like Sapientia is gonna turn into someone's lunch real quick. Now, in a previous chapter, I was collecting pieces to an LP record. We're going to go into the store now and exchange that record for a weapon, as well as buy some items and an accessory, which we're going to need for late game. So we go into the store. And we collect the weapon, which is the Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore, which is a set of rocket launchers. We're also going to be buying Celine's Light, as well as purchasing Bloody Rose lollipops, as well as Mega Moon yellow lollipops. The yellow lollipops. And I also buy a Mega Purple, which I'm going to explain everything once I become relevant. So this is Isla Del Sol. Isla Del Sol, at the start of this chapter, is a shoot 'em up segment. So I just equip the Kilgore rocket launchers as well as equip the Bloody Rose Lollipop. The Bloody Rose Lollipops give extra attack damage, which I will need for some of the mini bosses in this shoot 'em up segment. This shoot 'em up segment is quite repetitive. You're going to be seeing a lot of enemies that we had previously seen throughout the whole game. My objective is, with this, it's not a auto-scroller. The waves will come in as soon as the previous wave has been defeated. So I just have to try and shoot down the enemies as soon as they come in for the next wave to spawn in. So because this is quite a long segment, you're most welcome to read off as many donations as you like.
Oh, that is music to my ears. You have no idea. All right, let's do this. So we have $50 from Sabi. This donation comes from both my grandmother and I. From me, you're an inspiration and a friend, battling Alzheimer's and angels with equal grace. Gala gang! Also from Grandma. A cheer from Hawaii. Go get 'em, girl.
Thank you.
And we got $20 from M3 Hammer saying, keep up the fantastic runs, Gala. You are doing awesome. And we got $50 from Street BB. Was going to donate for Crash Bash Go, but it's already done. So here's what I would have donated anyway. And let's be real here, Crash Bash may have been met, but there's plenty of other incentives coming up through the event. For example, the next two we have coming up is for Fable, The Lost Chapters and Valley. In Fable we have a bid war for what's going to happen to Whisper. Are we going to spare her, which is right now in the lead with $78, or are we going to kill her, which is right now a bit behind on $35? But your donations can make the difference, and it's going for a really good cause. Also coming up we have some incentives for Valley. One of them is for Cat Castle, which is that the runner, Red Sock, will go to a secret cat castle and just take a minute or two just looking at the cute cat pictures that are hanging in the walls in there. I promise you it's really cute. Everyone loves cats, am I right? It's right now at $150 out of the 200 needed, so just $50 away. And hey, if you donate 50 at the same time or over the event, you get to enter a beautiful prize draw for a Nintendo Switch, which is donated by our sponsor Kaspersky. It's a win deal for everyone. We get to have fun, it's going for a good cause, and hey, you may get something fun too. Another prize you might get if you are donating is a ViewSonic Elite monitor, and for that you need to donate a minimum of $30 through the event. Thank you all so much for the donations. Thank you for helping this amazing cause, and let's see here how far Gala is going right now with the segment.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think this segment is about 5 minutes of shoot 'em up, so if any donations come in, or if anyone wants their donation read live on stream, this is a good opportunity to have it happen. For the shoot 'em up, there are these little segments where there are these angels that thought it was a good idea to hijack the ship, so we just have to blow them up when that happens.
I can tell you right now that we do have some donations coming in, but they're right now in the pending process, so hopefully they will soon get accepted so we can read them out and see what fun messages we get.
Awesome. This little mini boss here is 3 inspireds. I use a Bloody Rose Lollipop to get more attack damage, and then I'm just shooting a lot of bullets as well as waves. For the last one, I get Witch Time, shoot them in the face, and then throw some waves at them as well. Also during this segment, I am alternating between 2 buttons for faster shooting, so I apologize if my my controller is a bit clicky. with it. It's just so I can shoot a lot of bullets at the enemies. These king ships here, they shoot lasers, but going to the top of the screen, I don't have to deal with them, because they don't damage me that way. Yeah, this segment is, a lot of it is a memory game. I just have to remember which enemies spawn when, and then shoot them down as soon as possible so that the next wave will come in. The final mini-boss of this segment is coming up. The suspense rises. As you can hear, the music is becoming very eerie. So the shoot 'em up segment is... Oh, yeah, you can read it off.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
It's okay.
Because we got $5 from Serpin that says, or more like ask, is this Dark Souls 2? Galar Sarkozy. Thank you so much for that $5 donation.
Thank you. So the final mini-boss of the shoot 'em up segment is Temperance. I used Bloody Rose Lollipop for extra attack damage, as well as the Yellow Moon Lollipop, so that none of the bullets there interrupted my attacks. And then we shoot a lot of weaves at him and blow him up. Now this next part, I'm going to want to explain a lot of things, as there is a lot of tech here. Okay, so this is the final time that we fight Jean. Yeah, where we fight Jean. Okay, so I go into the menu and I equip Celine's Light, which is the accessory bot, as well as use a magic purple lollipop. What Celine's Light does is when you get hit by an enemy, Witch Time will activate, consuming a portion of the magic gauge, which allows us to get an opportunity to take advantage of an enemy. On the opposite weapon set to the Durga on the feet, we now have the Kilgore rocket launchers. The Kilgore are usually a slow weapon that does a lot of damage, but using the exploit with the Durga, we can fire a lot of the rockets in a short amount of time and do a tremendous amount of damage, which is one of the highest combos in the game that we have on the speedrun. I change weapon sets and then we shoot a lot of rockets at her in Witch Time. Like so. Jean has these missiles, so we're going to be versing her on these missiles. Okay. And when she receives a certain amount of damage, she goes to the next parts of her fight. Change weapon sets and then fire a lot of rockets. One thing about Jean that is important to take note of is that when Bayonetta goes into beast form, Jean will want to follow after Bayonetta in her version of beast form as well. This is important to take note of because whenever Jean comes out of her beast form, she will want to attack with her sword. Where is she? Like that. This gives us an opportunity to activate Celine's Light to get Witch Time, to get an opportunity to explode her and do a lot of damage to her. Oh, she's all the way down there. Okay. I cannot see where she is. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of tech for her fight, which is good. So yeah, Celine's Light, having that accessory is very useful for her fight and also for a fight that will happen a bit later on. But because Witch Time is such a good mechanic for having a moment to take advantage of an enemy, yeah, we want to use that for Jean in that fight. Now the next chapter is A Tower to Truth. this chapter is a bit of repetition of enemies. So if you have any donations that need to be read, this is also a good chapter to do so.
Awesome! We got $5 from Anonymous, who is asking, is there a pure platinum or a platinum world record run? And I think you can take time to answer that question.
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
Is there a pure platinum or a platinum world record run for this game?
For Bayonetta 1, there isn't a category for pure platinum speedruns. I do know a runner though of Bayonetta 2 who does pure platinum runs, Ace Krana. He's a very good runner. He does pure platinum runs of Bayonetta 2. So, yeah. But doing pure platinum in this game would take a long time because there are a lot of little fights that, like in this run, we don't do, that you would need to do to pure platinum the chapters. So it would be a very long run.
That's cool though. So we also got $30 from Trip D, saying, great game with a great runner, and I can't agree anymore. Thank you so much for those donations. Keep up the good work, by the way.
Thank you. In this room, there are some enchants. I try and position Bayonetta in such a way so that the explosives I plant will clear them all out together like that, which is good. This fight, I want to kill the red one first. Good. Then we kill the blue one. Now there's Temperance punching through the wall. We're going to be dealing with him a bit later. However, there are some pesky angels who were doing their midnight shopping in the middle of this hallway. They were not following quarantine regulations, so we have to come along and blow them up. Like so. Cool. Don't know why they're hanging out in there. They just spawned in. Anyway. Now we're going to be versing Temperance. We go into this contraption here, and we're going to be shooting these bullets into his face. And I specifically try and aim them into his face because he will get a stagger animation. I don't want him to have the opportunity to fight back, so we're going to try and stagger him as much as possible, like so. And then he gets very angry, he has a little tantrum and he punches the side, but we can go to the other side and start shooting as well. Going in between them, that gives him the opportunity to shoot, so we use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these bullets will do damage to Bayonetta. He can do a laser, but I try and aim to stagger him out of it, but sometimes he moves around a lot. It's rather pesky, but that's okay. We can get rid of him next time. And take him out. The camera pans to the side and we see the moon. An ability that Bayonetta got by default near the start of the game was Witch Walk, which allows Bayonetta to walk on the walls. So Bayonetta is witch walking now up this building. There are some elevators that fall down, but by staying in the middle we don't have to deal with them. I activate the claw from the previous fight as well as use the yellow moon lollipop so that Vine does not interrupt Bayonetta doing the spinning with that claw. And we can just take the health away and run up the limb to get to the face. So that's a very, very good use of that claw. Fast, effective way to get rid of his health. The final set of skips are coming up for the run, which I'll get to show in just a second. The first one being just a small one. We can use the afterburner kick technique to get on top of this platform. And now a larger one here. Usually you would interact with this contraption, which moves the plates around here for you to get to the other side. However, using the techniques that we have, as well as panther jumping and crow form, we can make it to the other side without having to do that. Where we get a fight, which is the golem, my favorite. One form that this golem has compared to the other ones is he can go into a centipede form, which is this. It's not my favorite. I was hoping he wouldn't do it. Don't like this form. Cool. And now, like the golems previously, we do not perform the climax. We wait for the golem to split apart and then regather. And we just blow up that portion of health when he is regathering again. Since the climax animation is too slow. So, we do that instead. Now coming up is the final enemy. Who will it be? Someone that we have seen before. It is Sapientia, or one of Sapientia's cousins. And what we're performing here is a technique that you get by default at the start of the game, which I have used throughout the whole run, and it is called the dodge offset. What the dodge offset essentially allows you to do is continue your combos after dodging. So here with Sapientia, because Panther form is on the dodge button, you press the dodge button twice to get Panther form activated. So each time Sapientia goes back, we can plant an explosive each time without having to start up a new combo. And the dodge offset is very important for combat in Bayonetta because it makes combat a lot more fluid. Like you could be in combat doing a combo to an enemy, you dodge, and then coming out of that dodge, you can still continue that combo afterwards by throwing a Wicked Weave or a Dagger Explosive and stuff like that. So, very important technique. And that's the end of that chapter. Now, the final two chapters are both dedicated to boss fights, which are pretty RNG heavy, and they can make or break your run. So we'll get to see how they decide to behave today. The first one being the Lumen Sage. Cool. I'm going to be shooting little bullets at him to try and aggravate him. Oh, I didn't do... okay. Try and aggravate him to do a 3-hit combo. So he will hit me to activate Celine's Light to get Witch Time. And then I do the exploit throwing a lot of the rocket launches into him to obliterate his health. When this happens each time, Bayonetta summons one of her infernal beasts. First time she summons Gamora, and you can see what happens with the Lumen Sage. He is very powerful. He cracks Gamora's neck. So Gamora is down. Oh no. We have to do that again. So I shoot little bullets at him. He hopefully will do the combo that I want him to do. For some reason my controller is acting funny. It's okay. We do the exploit, and in which time we take out all of his health. Bayonetta for the second time summons the Centipede, Scolopendra. And the Lumen Sage mocks us a little bit by combing his hair. So this is the final time. Okay. My magic gauge was a little bit low there. Try and get him to do what I want him to. Now for this part, there is glass that's in the air. And what I have to do, what Bayonetta does is she shoots her bullet, which is her lipstick, so we just have to direct it without touching the glass into Boulder's forehead. Right into the forehead, like so. So yeah. And that's the end of the Lumen Sage.
I should have been a pole dancer.
Now the next chapter is dedicated to the final boss fight, who is just as mean or even more mean. So I'll get to show her to you. In the chapter Epilogue Requiem. At the start of this chapter, we play as Jean. You're not versing as her, but you are playing as her. Jean is on a motorbike. I use a mega yellow lollipop so that none of these angels behind Jean will interrupt her movement, as we want her going as straight and as fast as possible. Uninterrupted. So you might be wondering, why is Jean on a motorbike? Why are we playing as Jean? What's going on? Well, there are a lot of events that happened after the previous chapter, and we find out that throughout the game, Jean was brainwashed by the angels of the game, and Bayonetta is in trouble, so she's coming to save Bayonetta. And the theme song that is playing right now is called Friends, and it is my favorite theme in the game. It's really good. Yeah. Sometimes this game goes on sale for like $5 or something, and I highly recommend picking it up if you want to give it a try. It's a really good game for what it is. I like it a lot. And if you have any donations that need to be read, this is a good opportunity to do so before we see the boss.
I will just want to take this time to actually thank the Gala Gang, because with your help we have gone from 3,800 to 4,125 in total donations. The Gala Gang is on fire, and thank you so much for helping the Alzheimer's Fonden to fight dementia and Alzheimer's and make it easier for people either with the disease or struggling with someone that has it. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. So the final boss is coming up very soon. Which is Jubileus the Creator. Jubileus has these hair strands, and on each of the hair strands is an orb, and if she does some sort of move where she puts her hair strands on the floor, the objective is to hit the orbs to do damage to her. Jubileus is an RNG boss because the sequence of attacks that she decides to do determines how fast or how slow this boss fight will be. And yeah. Once she receives a certain amount of damage, she will go into the next parts of her boss fight. The first segment of her fight, she summons different elements, and the first element that she summons is fire. So I just want to go to each of the hair strands and hit the little orbs that are inside them. We knock her in the face to trip her over, and we hit her in the face a bit more. She will now summon her next element, which is the opposite to fire. It is ice. The pathing to the hair strands is very similar to the former element, so it's just similar to that. Oh, I did hit that one. There are these crystals that fall down during this phase, so I just have to be careful not to turn Bayonetta into an ice cube. Don't want that happening. And we just hit her in the face again. Now this is the final elemental phase, and this is the one I do not like. I don't like this phase at all. What happens is, this is like a storm kind of wind phase. And what Jubilace does is she puts her hair strands on these larger platforms. You have to get jump prompts to go to these small platforms in order to go to them. Sometimes you could get a jump prompt and think you're jumping to one smaller platform, but you actually end up jumping to one that you didn't even see. So I just have to be a bit careful here. Or sometimes she can summon lightning like she did there and break the platforms apart, which is not very nice. Don't like it when she does that. Once you hit all the hair strands, she goes into a little bundle, and we just have to go, as per tradition, go to her face and hit her with the sword, so she falls over. Now let's see what kind of move she will do. There is one move that she can do which is just straight up timeless, which I hope that she decided to do that move. I think she heard me say it. It is where she puts her hair strands on the floor, and you can't damage the hair strands, and she summons a vortex. If you go into the vortex, you instantly die, and all you can do is run away. So it's very unfortunate if she decides to do that on a run. This move is manageable though. This is a frisbee move. When the frisbees hit Bayonetta, she goes into her little child form. The reason why we let them hit us is because Jubilace will do her punch attack after doing that, and we want that to happen straight away, so we let them hit us so that she'll do it as soon as possible. Okay, she did the timeless move once again. That's okay. Okay. She did hear me. Now what will she decide to do? Okay, she's gonna punch me. That's alright. Now she's received a good amount of damage, so we can climax. Bayonetta summons her hair as a walkway, and now we're going to be traveling on up here. Now we're gonna hit her in the face once again. This is the final climax, and I'm gonna let you enjoy this one. With the combination of Jean's hair as well as Bayonetta's hair, together they summon Queen Sheba. And now we're going to be punching God into the sun. With the Big Bang bonus. However, in order to get to the sun, we have to make sure that Jubilace doesn't hit any of the planets. So I'm just going to be directing her in such a way that hopefully she won't hit into the planets, because otherwise I'll have to do this segment again. So if there is anything that you would like to say, donation reader, you're most welcome to.
Oh, absolutely. We got some last minute donations here before the run ends.
Okay.
We got $10 from Clayton, who says Gala Cozy. And another $15 from Playmer that says, Gala, my grandfather suffered Alzheimer's during his last 5 years or so. So thank you for doing this run. Hashtag Gala Gang. Thank you everyone for those donations.
Thank you,
helping the
Playmer.
great cause. Yeah.
Thank you, Playman. And now we have successfully hit Jubileus into the sun. Congratulations. However, like any good murder, you gotta dispose of the body. So, to make sure that Jubileus is entirely dead, we have to make sure that we break up her body parts. On each of Jubileus' body parts, she has these lock-on points. So I just have to make sure that I hit the body part correctly for the body part to break apart. Using the sword. Jean is also on the other side helping me out. She's using her guns a bit to help out with breaking Jubileus up. And now in Bayonetta speedrunning, we do not stop the timer on the first set of credits because there are fights within the credits that determine how long our speedrun will be. So we stop the timer on the final hit or input at the final fight in the credits. So I'll call out when time is, but until then, you can enjoy the groovy music. The first fight in the credits is the first Jean fight. However, this time we do a lot more damage. Thanks. I might take this moment to say if anyone is interested in learning the Bayonetta speedrun, whether it's Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2, you're most welcome to join the Bayonetta speedrunning Discord, which you can find attached to either any of the leaderboards on speedrun.com. Always very welcoming to have new runners or anyone who's interested in this run or the game in general. You're most welcome to come hang out. It's a really good run. It's a lot of fun to do, so I recommend it. I also want to give shoutouts to some of the Bayonetta runners. Ace Krana, he's a really good runner of this game. When I was learning, he helped me out, so I want to say thanks to him. Also, Enthes is a new runner. He's been very encouraging, so I want to say thanks to him. Also to the other runners in the Bayonetta Speedrun Discord are all very lovely. So, yeah, anyone is most welcome to come join us there. So the final fight will come up in a bit, and I'll call out time once we get there. Bayonetta is a really good game. I recommend picking it up and giving it a try. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So this is the final fight, and I'll just try and finish it as fast as possible. And timer stops now. That's the end of the run. Thank you everyone for watching my run. That was a lot of fun. Cool. That's the. Thank you everyone. Thank you to all my friends too. Cool.
Final time is 1 hour, 48 minutes and 15 seconds if you're curious.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you Gala for being here and showing off the amazing Bayonetta NPC. Coming up next, we have Fable: The Lost Chapters by Etem. So stay tuned and stay awesome, everyone.